Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of the Local Football Chat with me, Andre Arendse and Grant Johnson. Grant, what are we chatting about today?
So last week we covered a bit about the Bafana, the current team, with a bit of comparison to the 96 team that won the AFCON and the similarities there. Today we're going to go a little bit more goalkeeper specific and the goalkeepers we currently have in the PSL and the issues that we have in the national team.
So you speak about issues that we have with goalkeeping, and I think this is a topic that you and I have discussed a lot in the past. And we've actually done a little bit of a deep dive into what the state of goalkeeping is in South African football. And we've concentrated our efforts on the PSL. What are some of the goalkeeping stats telling us about the PSL?
Some of the problems that we have, if I look at the 16 teams currently playing, 6 of those teams have got local goalkeepers, 10 have got foreign goalkeepers, and that plays a big role in obviously our selection of goalkeepers for the national team. So we would obviously like to see more local goalkeepers playing in the PSL, which gives a bigger group of players for us to select from.
And you speak about the ratio with foreign to local goalkeepers. It does make for concerning reading, because you and I have both we've done some research with that. But what's further sort of alarming, if you like, is how that affects the national team. When you look at the numbers out there where yourself and Hugo Broos have options to choose local goalkeepers for the national team, it makes for sad reading.
Yeah, definitely. Every time you put a team together, there's only a certain number that you can choose from. And if you look at some of the teams, it even gets worse, so that the number 1 and number 2 in the team are both foreign. So there's not even local goalkeepers sitting on the bench, and it is a problem. Again, it might even be an age-related thing where those 6 local goalkeepers that are playing in the PSL are either close to 30 or in their 30s already.
Yeah, and that is concerning. Now, we've got to, it's easy for us to talk about the problems and the issues at hand and that type of thing, but we've also got to look at solutions and how we fix it. Now, our viewers out there might or might not know the way that, for example, Egypt have gone with their goalkeepers, and they've sort of banned all foreign goalkeepers from coming to play in their local leagues because they wanted to concentrate their efforts on grooming local goalkeepers. Is that the route we should go or not?
I don't think we should get that far. Obviously, the standard of the PSL still has to be at a top level. So we would like foreign players, not just goalkeepers, but the top foreign players on the continent playing in our league to lift the standard of the league. But I feel there has to be something done to allow more goalkeepers to play. What do you think about the problems currently facing the PSL teams and the goalkeepers? Is it a head coach thing? Is it a goalkeeper coach thing? What do you think is stopping local goalkeepers from playing in the PSL?
Yeah, so firstly, I'm in agreement with you in terms of banning foreign goalkeepers, for example, as that is our discussion point right now, from playing in the league, because I do think they add value to the local PSL. We still have to devise a program where we develop young goalkeepers to these levels, where coaches have them at their disposal. What we've got to remember also is that from a head coaching perspective, the game is clearly results driven. And you'll find that some coaches don't really want to step into the idea of throwing young goalkeepers in at the deep end, because yes, there are trust issues, but there are also experience issues. And I think a lot of coaches like to go with the experienced, tried and tested, but there are not enough of them out there. My personal view on that is that there is a desperate shortage of goalkeeper coaches. You and I can't reach all 4 corners of the country in terms of trying to weed out the potential young goalkeepers who will represent the national team in the future, and of course PSL clubs. But I think we have to put that down to a development process, or a lack thereof, and we need to devise a process whereby we correct that side of the development part of football.
So I would maybe suggest, or it might even be a way to go, is to say PSL clubs, 30% of their games in a season, they have to play a local goalkeeper. That might be one way of doing it. But to do that, we need the talent to fill into those to those roles. So each club is going to have a local goalkeeper, and if there's 30 games in the season, that means 9 of the games will have to have a local goalkeeper. It might be one way of doing it, because if I look at Supersport, when Ronan Williams started playing, I think it was Gavin Hunt was the coach, and he gave Ronan a game and he said, I'm not going to drop you for the next 5 games, you will play. And Ronan knew, he was 18 years old, and he knew, well, I'm going to play for the next 5 games, let me give it a go. And obviously the rest is history. He's now the number 1 in Africa, and been to the Ballon d'Or and all of those amazing things. And if Gavin had not given him that chance, who knows who we would have been today.
Yeah. So it literally is taking a chance or a gamble on some of our younger sort of goalkeepers, if you like. Speaking of age, now, am I correct in saying that one of our youngest local goalkeepers who are first choice goalkeepers at the club, they're around the age of 29? 28, 29.
Correct, yeah.
Is that a worry, then a concern, that we don't have younger from 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who are cementing their places in their first teams, like Ronman, for example, did back in the day?
It's definitely a concern. You don't really see young goalkeepers playing in the PSL. They don't really get a game. They might get 1 or 2 here and there, but it's not a consistent thing. And it's something that may be down to coaching, goalkeeper coaching. Maybe there's not enough proper goalkeeper coaching, and we've spoken about this before, where there's a difference between a goalkeeper coach and a goalkeeper trainer, for example. And maybe you can tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, that's a very, very good point you make there, and you and I discussed that a lot, where professionals in the game, specifically from a coaching perspective, don't really understand or get that component of goalkeeping or goalkeeper coaching correct. So when we look at goalkeeper training speaks to methods of training. So putting on drills, whether it's quick feet, whether it's just straight line volleys or catching or shot stopping, those are what we call drills that help the goalkeeper in different components of their game. When it comes to the coaching side, just in a nutshell, it's how we coach goalkeepers behind a back 4, behind a back 3 or a back 5, and how they integrate into building up play, for example, or their distribution, and how they see the game when they are in possession of the ball. So those now become more team related and group related exercises that we do with them. And where the missing link comes in is the understanding of goalkeeper coaches on how to coach and how to train those different aspects of the game. Now, having said that, how do you think we will get that kind of thinking into the marketplace when it comes to coaching coaches?
So I think there's a definite need for more coaching of coaches, and it's something that you and I have spoken about and we really want to get into, is to, I mean, if you and I had to just go out and coach goalkeepers, we'll get to a maximum of 20 maybe that we can get to, because it's just a sheer numbers thing. But if we had to coach 20 goalkeeper coaches, now we can get to 100 goalkeepers. So the vision has got to be for us to be coaching goalkeeper coaches, not just goalkeepers. Yes, those that come through the ranks and become for specialized training, yes, we can coach those. But to get out to each and every goalkeeper is not going to be possible. So the way I see it going forward is that you and I need to be out there coaching goalkeeper coaches. But to do that, we're going to need some type of funding. That just doesn't happen with you and I going around the country doing seminars or coaching clinics or coach the coaches sessions, because you need to, it costs money to do these things. And that type of development would take money or take funding.
Yeah, well, I think it's for a purpose, and that purpose being that we feel, and we don't just say this because we're former goalkeepers, is that it is arguably the most important position in any football team. And I think that with the ideas that we've got and the plan and the process that we want to put in place, and we will put that process in place because it's important, because that's the way that we see the goalkeeping side of football in South Africa growing. It's about reaching the numbers, and we can only reach those numbers if we get the required help from a funding perspective, so that allows us to go and coach goalkeeper coaches. Okay. And in turn, those goalkeeper coaches will go and coach in their own communities, at schools or wherever they're based. And so it's important for us to filter that whole process down. But that's going to be a critical component of the process. In fact, just this morning, Grant, you and I ran into a passionate football fan. And this football fan questioned the work that we should be doing in terms of developing goalkeepers, for example. And we ran this process by him, and he could clearly see that that's what it was going to take. And that for me is a learning curve in terms of how we want to put out the structures out there.
Definitely. I mean, somehow we need to find the next Ronwen Williams. Even at the moment, in the present situation, Ronwen's played 90% of the Bafana games over the last 3 years. And there's no one really that's put up their hand to challenge that, and it's desperately needed. We need some type of youngster to come through that's either going to go and play in overseas or play in a top team in the PSL and perform on a week in, week out basis. It takes training, it takes the right mentality, it takes discipline, it takes all of those things. But having said that, Andre, you know, these are chats we can have. We can go on for hours. We don't want to bore you too long with these videos, but what I would like to say to you people out there watching this video, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything, but we do need the support. We need to grow the space. There's a whole range of topics we want to discuss. Even in in the comments column, put what topics you'd like us to discuss, and we'll pretty much discuss anything. So put in your comments what topics you'd like to hear us talk about. And we'll hope to see you soon, Andre.
We want to make it interactive, of course, for you, the viewers, because this is what it's about. Your input is critical to the process that we eventually put in place, and any bit of help that you can offer us from an advice perspective and the comments that you would like to raise there as well is going to be critical to the process. So thank you once again for joining us and listening and watching our latest episode of the show. We look forward to bringing you the next one very, very soon. So stay tuned.
Cheers. Keep on.